Hi, good morning. This is Amjit. I'm the senior buyer of the city. I think let's wait for a minute or two. Maybe some other people might jump in. So we have approximately 15 people on the call. I think let's start. In the meantime, if someone else comes, I'll let them in. Uh, Thank you very much for participating. We welcome you on behalf of the City of Victoria for the non-mandatory virtual information meeting pertaining to RFP 23-134, Consulting Services Centennial Square Improvement Phase 1. We would also like to acknowledge and thank the Lokwejan people, also known as the Songi and Esquimalt First Nation communities, past, present, and future, for their stewardship, care, their leadership on these lands on which we work, live, and play. Today's meeting will have two sessions. First would be an introduction and a little bit of information session from our side, and then that would be followed by questions and answers. We'll try to capture all the questions, record it, and we would also request that in the meantime, once this session ends, you can also send us your email questions. So we make sure that we don't miss anything. As of now, we have issued Addendum 1 and Addendum 2, where we try to clarify most of your questions. With me on this project, we have two people from the city, in addition to myself. One is Justin Dijkstra. He's the manager, Parks Planning, Design and Development. And then we have Anna Kaposta. She is basically the project lead for this. She is the senior landscape architect. I will I'll hand over to Justin. Justin, would you like to start?
Sure. I'll just introduce myself again. I'm Justin Dijkstra, Manager of Park Design and Development for the City of Victoria, and yeah, I'll be assisting Anna with this project. She'll be acting as project manager, and she'll go through a bit of a background review of the project before we have a Q&A session. So go ahead, Anne.
Thanks, Justin. Again, my name is Anna Kapusta, and I'm a senior landscape architect with Park Design and Development team. And welcome, everyone. Thank you for your time. I'll spend the next 5 minutes or less, hopefully, talking through some key information that we hope will help with your proposal submissions, and then with a short presentation here. Let me just share my screen. Click here. And I would appreciate if you can just let me know if you can, with a thumbs up, that you can see the screen. Yep, thanks, MJ. So again, yeah, this is a very short, quick couple slides. For those who are not familiar with the City of Victoria, even though, I'm not sure where all the participants are kind of joining in from, but just want to kind of mention the general kind of location of the square and location of the project. Centennial Square is part of Victoria's Old Town district, and it sits across the street from Chinatown, which is one of our key tourist destinations. The square is surrounded by many important kind of institutions. Key ones that are directly linked to the square are the City Hall and the Capital Regional District Headquarters building. And it is in close proximity to Douglas Street, that serves as a main transportation kind of oriented corridor. And then it also is near the main biking route that connects the city from east to west at Pandora Avenue. Oh, sorry. My mouse is a little bit slow here. So the project site itself, Centennial Square was constructed in the mid-1960s as part of a kind of a larger urban renewal scheme in North America, with two historic buildings that were preserved as on-site. One of them is being the City Hall. The other one is the McPherson Theater. The square historically has been evolving civic space, and it has been altered since its original construction to suit the changing needs of the city. As noted in this diagram, building frontages play a key role in the character of the space and the nature of the square and the square activity, and will be the key element to kind of guarantee the success of this project. Hence, our scope is divided into two different zones, with key focus being the square improvements, with the recognition that the larger and long-term vision and concept update is a roadmap for the future changes. So the two different areas that were part of our RFP is Zone 1, that is shown here in this diagram with a black outline. And it shows the extent of the concept update that was named as Step 1 in the RFP. And Zone 2 of the scope, the red outline, shows the extent of Step 2 and 3, which include the detailed design, schematic design, detailed design, construction documents, as well as contract admin. And I'll elaborate on the deliverables for each steps on the next slide, but here, kind of briefly, I want to focus on the draft concept and the program elements that are required as part of the design and had been approved by City Council. So the concept that you see is the kind of the current high-level concept and is premised on improving the mobility, access, and safety in the square, as well as providing more places to play, rest, and encourage people to stay. It focuses on using existing infrastructure to improve the square and to provide more flexible open space for larger scale events and festivals. And the key aspects of the design include the general sloped access from the City Hall to central area to improve pedestrian connection through the square. That's under number 1. The rest and shade and play zone in central terrace area with sitting steps, area for movable furniture, ingrown trees, and playable sitting with potential for water feature and play installation. That's under number 2 and 3. Active edges, so introduction of commercial kiosk is part of the design at the upper terrace or alternate location, and enclosed stage area under number 11, as well as undercroft, which is the kind of extension of the City Hall. And important to note here is that number 10 and 11 are either attached or a part of the heritage designated buildings. So both of them will require permits at the detailed design stage when this future phase is in motion. And then during the kind of our concept update process, they will require kind of more in-depth kind of consultation with our heritage team as well. And then we have the central water feature to allow more flexible space for events and programming. that is created by replacing existing fountain with existing monoliths and concrete tiara, salvage, transportation, and storage plan needed as part of the submission. In addition, additional seating. So that was number 7. And then we also have the additional seating with adaptation of existing walls and suitable edges. And then a couple last points is the accessible that are outside of the phase 1, but part of the larger concept are accessible open lawn area at the upper terrace with number 12, and then transit hub, which is imagine kind of a link to the Douglas Street. That's the existing kind of transportation corridor, which would accommodate some weather protection, wait zones, and more bike parking, and the potential of additional commercial kiosk. And then just to clarify, the program elements are fixed as per this diagram, and then have been approved by council. And the expectation is that this will be the detailed design that will be kind of a step 2 of this process. And this is my last slide, I believe. So just to kind of walk through the expectation, what the steps are is, so step 1, named vision and concept, is this section will require update of the kind of the current concept that I just briefly walked through, based on the background information that will be provided by the city and changes that might have occurred since the original concept creation. It will result in the document, hopefully, that will present long-term vision of the square redevelopment, including an overview of the broader network of kind of large urban spaces downtown, as well as the role of the square in the, as a public space. It should include real estate opportunities such as potential redevelopment of the Parkade building, and uses like different uses of the ground floor of McPherson Theater. As well as the concept should include scenarios of sequencing depending on the opportunities kind of identified. And step 2 will result in an updated concept that then will be presented to council with budget ask for construction of phase 1. Then step 2 is kind of the schematic design, detailed design, so development, design development, and then construction, drawing and packages and specifications. And it will be focused on the upper terraces, stairs, and the lower central plaza area as per kind of the red outline of on the diagram. Everything outside of the boundary of the phase 1 is considered as a future phases, and is out of scope for the detailed design and construction at this time. And then final step 3 is the contract administration. So it includes hiring a contractor through tendering process, and then administration services during the construction phase. So that's my very quick way to kind of walk through the scope and deliverables and some very little background information. And this concludes my presentation here. So I'll just open it up for the discussion, and maybe I'll first hand it over to Justin. I don't know, Justin, if you have anything to add. I've for now stopped sharing, but I'm happy to bring the drawings back up on the screen. That will be helpful.
It might maybe just go back to the concept.
The scope. Okay, the scope. Yeah.
To have as reference.
Sure. Maybe we can have that up on the screen.
Yeah, I don't have a lot more to add before we go. I kind of open it up to questions, but just wanted to clarify when we go back to council, it will be for just confirming, kind of sharing the updated concept design, and there won't necessarily be a budget ask as part of that, because we've already included budget for construction in the financial plan for next year. So with that, we'll open it up to any questions from attendees. Yes, probably using the raise your hand function, which I believe numbers gives everybody numbers. We can go in the order that it shows.
Maybe chat could be used as well. I don't know if that's just for if somebody needs written option as well.
I'll break the ice here. Is there a more detailed breakdown of the construction budget that we could have access to?
Justin, you're on mute.
I bet you could read my lips there, though. Yeah, it's true. So right now we don't have a very detailed breakdown of the construction budget. Really, it's an envelope. So we haven't gone through and allocated a certain amount of funding to certain things. We've done a very high level estimate, which was used to propose the budget that we have available for construction, which is a kind of a range generally, which I believe we posted in was part of the RFP, which was I think $7 to $9 million.
Yeah. Any questions?
I'll ask another one. Is there a complete AutoCAD-based drawing that exists for the site with all utilities?
Maybe I can.
Yeah, and go for it.
So we do not have the kind of the complete CAD drawing for this particular concept, and there is the the database that's available online on Vic Maps that includes all the information that's available for that includes kind of the underground and utilities information as well. So that's what's kind of available.
And
There's a yeah, please.
I was just going to add to that the scope of services includes a complete design survey to be at the front end, which also includes coordinating with the various service providers for the information that's necessary to build out that survey above and below ground with that information.
Okay, should we allow for locates with that survey?
Yes, I mean we will certainly have some of that information available, and we'll provide everything that we have. But you should also coordinate with BC Hydro, and I mean I think that's primarily the one. There's a BC Hydro duct that goes through the site just to verify where everything's at.
So there's a question from Brian asking for, may I know if the existing water fountain's running?
Whether it's running and functional?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
I think we intend to. Well, I mean, we're open to exploring making reuse of the water recirculation system in the new fountain. Yeah, and I believe it's operational to date. Jeff Cutler?
There is reference to permits required adjacent to the heritage buildings. Could you just maybe talk a little? Is that two separate permits? Is that one submission? What's the permit? The specific permit? Is it a development permit or what's required there?
Yeah, I can. And
Do you
unless Anna
wanna-
wants to jump in, I can provide some.
So you're on the
that
roll,
would be-
Justin. Go for it.
So the permits would not be required for this phase of the project. In the future, when we go to get into detailed design for those elements in particular that shown as 10 and 11 here, there would be a whole heritage alteration permit required. But for the concept update would just be coordinating with our heritage planners in the city to make sure that whatever is being proposed would be something that is acceptable from a heritage standpoint in the future.
There is another question from Hallmark office. Salvage of fountain, the complete fountain or only the monoliths? Do we have construction drawings as to how it was assembled?
So maybe I'll take on this one, Justin. So we're looking at kind of salvaging all of the elements of the fountain. So that includes the monoliths and the tiara and just kind of like looking at those elements. In terms of the construction drawings, we do have some of the drawings. We may not have all of the drawings. There is a good resources as well available in the city archives as well that show the how the fountain was assembled, and how the elements kind of go together. And I think that will be part of the requirement to assess, how this can, how the moving of the elements can happen. And basically that's going to be based more on the current conditions of the elements, not just the original construction drawings. As the fountain and the chair itself has been modified and from the original construction details, and there has been some wear and tear on the elements as well. So this will be based on the kind of the existing condition. So hopefully that answers the question.
So another question from Brian, and is it a plan to remove entire existing fountain mechanical system for the new system?
So that will be determined through the detailed design process, what can be repurposed and what would be removed. In the water kind of delivery and recirculation system, there will be an exploration of what of that system is intact and in good condition and can be reused.
Any other questions? No, seems fine.
Sorry, one more. The commercial kiosk. I'm unclear on what that actually is and what services it might require. Could you clarify that?
Yeah, so in terms of the commercial kiosk, we're imagining kind of a small, kind of a self-contained commercial unit that can have kind of a flexible uses, but as part of the services we would need the at the minimum we'll need water service and electrical, and the idea is that that's some sort of a self-contained unit that can be adapted to either like a retail service, but also could run potentially like a coffee shop or space. So any services required for that type of use will be required.
Okay, so
And
it sounds like it'll need sewer as well. Then there could be a sink inside there.
yeah, I would anticipate that's the case. So we're looking at something that is retail and would not be kind of a food would not be a food production location, but something where if there were if it was a coffee shop and there were pastries and things, those would be prepared offsite and brought in. But it would need water, electrical, and a sewer connection.
Thank you.
Another question from Hallmark. Any thoughts as to the size of the proposed interactive water features? Large, small, or same as existing?
I think it will be determined as part of the kind of the concept update. So there's no, that's the simplest answer to that.
Laura?
Hi, thank you. With past engagement work that you've gone through, is there any survey or questionnaires that you've completed in the past that could be made available for review?
Yes, so as part of the addendum 1, I believe we have issued, there was a similar question about the kind of the background information, if they can be made available. And there was a link provided to the council report and all the attachments that went as part of that council report. And then that one of the attachments is actually the engagement summary. And then as part of the concept update, we can, with more detail, we can review, what the actual kind of questions were. But like the summary should be enough at the stage of the submission of the proposal.
Any other questions? So just to summarize, we would be basically, we would appreciate if you can also send us your question through email. And if required, we might come back with another addendum. I think you still have the time to ask the questions. Earlier, the better. Please also note that once you are submitting your proposals, try to make sure that you don't do it at the last moment, just to make sure that everything lands properly in our bonfire tool. So if you don't have any questions, is there, Justin or Anna, you want to say something else? Some extra information?
Anna, do you have any parting comments?
No, I don't have any additional.
Well, I guess with that, we'll say we just thanks for attending and participating. We wanted to give people an opportunity to ask us any questions that might be I guess brewing, and the closing date is currently December 7th, I believe, at 4 4 p.m. So it's 2 weeks and a day from now. So look forward to receiving any proposals.